the R sound is the most frequent consonant sound in the French language. And it's also one of the hardest to nail. Well, actually, give me about 10 minutes and it won't be difficult for you. And how do I know that? Well, I know that because you already produce that sound naturally, you just don't realize it. Welcome to Quirky French Podcast, the podcast that helps you speak more confidently, feel more focused, and be more in control of your French learning journey. Prêt? C'est parti! Salut! Welcome to episode 33 of Quirky French Podcast, the podcast where I'm going to help you reach fluency, even if you're a bit shy and nervous about your accent. If pronunciation has always been really challenging for you, don't worry. First of all, you're not the only one. It's pretty challenging for French learners, and getting that R sound is arguably one of the most difficult sounds to produce, especially for English speakers. The thing is, learning the R sound is actually super simple and easy. Trust me, you don't have to spend hours learning about phonetics to get it right. And in fact, the tips I'm going to share with you will work immediately. It's not that complicated. I think one of the reasons why getting that French R right has been difficult is because no one ever told you this. There isn't just one R sound. So you might have learned one technique, but you'll always feel and sound awkward because you didn't get the full picture. So I'm going to show you exactly how to produce the 3 R sounds and when to produce them. In fact, let me tell you a little secret. You think you can't produce that sound or those sounds, but you can. There's at least 2 or 3 things that I'm sure you do that produce these exact same sounds. Okay, so I'm going to show you that immediately. Let's go. Okay, so first of all, we're going to talk about those 3 sounds. I'm going to produce them and show you how to activate the right part of your mouth and throat to produce those sounds, okay? The first R sound, you can make it. How do I know? Well, do you gargle after you brush your teeth? Yes? So you can do that first R sound. That R sound is like a gargle. There's kind of a soft contact at the back of your throat and there's no tension in the back of your throat, okay? So it's like a... Imagine that you're gargling. That's the first R. It's that simple. Obviously, it's much shorter when you speak French, but it's simply a gargle, a gargly R. Okay? As in Paris, Paris, Paris. If I go slower, Paris. It's a gargle. That's all it is. Okay? The second one, the second R sound. You already know how to produce it. How do I know? Well, imagine that you've got a really phlegmy cough and you need to clear your throat, okay? It's not the most glamorous analogy, but that's the one, okay? Imagine that you've got a phlegm in your throat and you're about to do the ugliest, most disgusting spit, like such. Okay? I know it sounds ugly right now, especially right in your ear with the podcast, but you know how to do that. You know how to clear your throat. So that second R is that one. It's the spitty R, okay? It's a tighter, tenser R, like a spitty, phlegmy R, okay? As in le train, the train, le train. Easy enough, right? Good. Moving on to the third R. I know that you can make that one too. And how do I know? Well, if you gargle and if you spit, then you can do that one even more easily, okay? In the first R, the gargly one, there was a bit of contact at the back of your throat, but it was pretty relaxed. And in the second one, it was very tense, okay? So we had a r and then a r. Well, this one, there's actually no contact, Okay, it's exactly the same position at the back of your throat, but it's just the noise of the air passing through. Okay, it's very soft. There's no contact. It's more like, okay? You don't feel the bubbling up of the gargling air, or you don't feel the spitting friction of the spitty air, okay? It's almost like imitating a cat hissing, okay? Okay? Like la mer, la mer, la mer. Okay? That's it. So I repeat the first one like a gargling air. As in Paris, Paris, Paris. But obviously in a natural speed, it's just Paris, Paris. Exactly the same position. The second one, it's that phlegmy, ugly spit air, okay? As in le train, le train, okay? But obviously, realistically, it's just le train, okay? Same position. And then the last one is just the airy one, okay? The hissy, the cat hissing one, okay? Like la mer, la mer. Okay, so you know what movements you need to think about, how to activate and how to conceptualize those three sounds, thinking of very basic everyday things that you do with your throat, okay? And just start to observe. The first step really is to listen to native speakers and pay attention to those three flavors. At this stage, I just want you to be aware that we have three nuances, three flavors, and as you notice them, you'll naturally pick them up much better. You'll start to pick up the patterns, okay? But let's be clear. Don't overthink it either, okay? It's just good to know. It's just reassuring to know that you can actually pronounce those sounds more easily than you think. And, you know, those sounds are totally accessible already. You're already able to produce them, okay? I hope you find this episode helpful. I wish you a lovely week full of spitting and gargling and hissing. And I'll catch up with you next week for another episode of Quirky French Podcast. And as you know, in the meantime, as always, keep learning, keep growing, and keep it quirky. Bonne fin de semaine. Salut, salut.